Chika married Ekaite from Akwa Ibom State and decided that they'll build a family together. After which, everything Chika had, Ekaite was always in the know. But what she didn't know was that Chika never used her for any documentation. So whenever he wanted to do anything, the husband wanted to do anything, he was going to use the brothers as his next of kin. And in the traditional understanding of what a next of kin is, they believe that once you're a next of kin to somebody, you are the one inheriting the properties. But they don't know that there's a difference between a next of kin and someone who inherits your properties. And anybody who inherits your properties should be written in a document called a will, so that this is a person that gets what. But no, traditionally they believe that next of kin means the person who inherits your properties. But because a next of kin is the first person they call whenever there's an issue, whenever there's an emergency, the person who is the next of kin is the first person they will call. The next of kin is the person that will guide your family members to say, this is what he has, because those people, whether he has any investment, is the next of kin they will call, so that the next of kin can now lead them to his own family or her family, as the case may be. So in this case, because the husband refused to use her for anything in the documentation, it was the brother he used. So something happened and he was not able to access any of his properties. So he now asked them to call his family members, and the first person they could call was his next of kin, which was his brother. And then the brother was, around. He picked everything. The wife was just seated there doing nothing. They took it to the, because he had a case with the EFCC. So then they got them. They tried to sort everything out. So when he got back, the wife asked him a question. What's going on? Why is she not part of any documentation in the companies, in anything that is going on, that she has really never really given it a thought? But does he not feel that she's the closest person to him to understand that, that if this thing goes like this is what it's going to be? But because she felt that if she begins to ask questions like that, it will look like she wants to kill the man. Because most men, if you tell them that they should write a will, or they should begin to sign off their properties to who is getting what, indirectly writing a will without writing it. But when you buy properties in somebody's name, it means that person owns that property even when you are not around, that kind of stuff. So he now said, no, why would she say that? That's his blood brother, the same mother and father, that the brother will protect him. The wife said no, that the brother is not going to protect him more than she would protect him. The brother is not going to protect his children more than she will protect the children. The brother, he said, no, there is a tradition in Igbo land. You cannot make your wife next of kin. In Igbo land, your brothers are your next of kin. Your brothers are the ones that, he came on with this in Igbo land, this, that. She said, well, she comes from a different tradition, and that's not how things are done. So they went back and forth, and she now said, okay, that because she didn't, emphasize on this before the wedding, she should just let it pass. So now, remember, if the man had not made this guy next of kin, it would have been easier for her. If he had not made his brother his next of kin, it would have been easier for her to always sort things out in case of anything, right? But in this case, the next of kin will need to interface with maybe the bank or the organization where ever they call him, because he's the one whose name and phone number is always on the next of kin. And let me say something here. For those of you who keep making your children next of kin, children who are not up to 18, you're making them next of kin as what? They will not have a phone number. So every time there's a column for next of kin, you see them ask the relationship you have with the person, and then the next one is a phone number. You would ask phone number. So your child who is 2 years old, 3 years old, 5 years old, 10 years old does not have a phone. And even if he has a phone, is not legal, is not, how will I put it, constitutionally right for those people cannot, that your child cannot vote. So I just felt that I should put that here. The child cannot vote. Is not ripe for voting for any election in Nigeria until you are 18. So why do you waste your time making your child next of kin because you feel that in case you die, then your child inherits it? Who told you it's next of kin that inherits? There's difference between inheritance and next of kin. Now, the danger in next of kin is that if your wife does not know most of your properties and your brothers are the ones handling this, and they cannot even, let your wife know what's going up. They will take everything because they will feel the people will deal with them, meaning that you are the one who had put their name there and phone number. So they will deal with them directly and they will cut out your wife. But most times the wives have to beg. In most cases, the wives have to beg for them to have a copy of the death certificate to be able to get a letter of administration to publish, so that whatever comes, they'll know that he has a wife and children, a legal wife, children, and all of that. And I used to tell people, whenever you are writing anything, whether it's a receipt or everything, write, if your name is Mr. Okonkwo and your wife is Chidima Okonkwo, write Mr. Mr. Okonkwo, or maybe Okonkwo Okafor, and Mrs. Chidima Okonkwo Okafor. Your name should be there, because if you write on a receipt Mr. and Mrs. or any document Mr. and Mrs., the Mrs. can be anybody. A Mrs. Okafor can be anybody. That is why it is very, very important to always include that. So now when this man now died, his family members, they had called them to different companies where the man had shares, when they bought things like that. His life, investment, life insurance and all. They called them. They now were interfacing with the brother, not his wife. Because at that point, they didn't even allow the wife. They never handed the wife the death certificate. They handed it to the brother because the brother had been in all the documents as the next of kin. That's the only danger in next of kin. Now, when this man back and forth, they reluctantly now gave the wife the death certificate to be able to publish for letter of administration, because when she gets the letter of administration, it will help her to be able to go through all his investment. It gives her the right to go through all his investment to see who is owing them and who they are owing, and do all that things and get all the entitlement, depending if he's working with government or wherever he works. So that was what happened. Then when this thing happened, they gave the wife, she published, and then they now told them to go get the documents. When they told somebody to get the document for them at some point, they didn't see where some of the documents were. The people said no, they have to deal with the man's brother, not the wife. That the wife, they don't know her. Yes, like in document wise, they don't know her, but they actually know she's the wife rather. So at the end of the day, the wife said, well, there's nothing she can do about this whole stuff, but that there are some documents that are with her. She will not let that go. So the brothers decided after 10 days, the guy was, had gone. He has gone, 10 days after. They all came for a family meeting, asking the wife to bring all the documents, everything they had. The wife said she doesn't have any documents with her. In fact, she had some document, but she said she doesn't have any document with her because she knew what they were going to do was to sell off those things. And then they said they will only leave one house for her and the children. They shared every other thing amongst themselves. They didn't know that the woman had other documents that was going to aid her and her children. Other businesses the man had been into that they didn't know about. And those particular business were personal business where those people already knew him, like this is his wife, but didn't need any letter of administration to do all of those things. So she went on, quietly, she rented out that particular house they gave her. She rented it out, moved her children to a different place. That's where the children stayed till they said they gained admission to go outside the country. She was able to foot that bill because of all of those things she kept aside from the family. So what I'm saying in essence, at the end of this thing, if there's anything you will learn from this story, is that whatever you are doing, your wife and your children comes first. Whatever you are doing, your husband and your children comes first before any other family member. Do not say it is our tradition in Igbo land, in Igbo this. And at the end of the day, nobody can take care of your children like your wife. Nobody can take care of your children like your husband. So who is your next of kin? As you watch this video, check yourself. Is your wife or husband your next of kin? And if they are not your next of kin and you have written a will without willing things to your children and your wife or your husband, make it now. Do it now, because time waits for no man and nobody knows tomorrow. So I just thought to use this opportunity with this story to say, be vigilant and know that nobody will love your children more than your spouse.